Yep, that's me. Probably wondering how I got here. Playing Mindseye, then recording a review. I finished the game and I felt like sharing my thoughts and opinions. Wanted to give an open hearted review here where I really dive deep into some of my experiences as well as just the general conversation about this game, which I believe is a big deal and a big part of the experience as well. So, tune in, enjoy, buckle up. We won't have much story spoilers here, other than a couple of cutscenes from very early on in the first hours, just some action sequences and different things of that nature. Now, I do want to say before we get started that I am one of the people in society that tries to focus on things I enjoy and that I'm happy or excited for. Mind's Eye was one of those things. And reason for that was Leslie Benzi, who ended up starting his own studio almost 10 years ago and then renamed it in 2018 or so into Build a Rocket Boy. And that's when they started working on this because they changed the different engine and they really started focusing on Mind's Eye and a game called Everywhere. And they described that they have a 10-year plan of multiple games within the same universe, kind of overarching stories that connect in some ways. And that was very intriguing for me as I'm invested in that kind of thing. It sounds very cool. And with that in mind, I did play their game called Everywhere, and I thought that was spectacular because it lets you build and do a bunch of very cool stuff that I'll talk about a little bit later. We'll get into a little bit of that as we go forward, but I just wanted to kind of put that in there. Now, we're going to focus on Mind's Eye because, as like most of you, it's a game that is just coming out, and we were wondering what it is, what you can do, how do you play it, how does it feel? And off top, I want to kind of give my general score. I have it a 7.5. It can go higher or lower depending on performances for your experience. I played on the PlayStation 5 and my Let's Play is going to be up when this video comes out. And you can see I didn't have many bugs or issues that were tremendous. Basically, one time the game crashed, and I had one time that I couldn't progress because I jumped into a car when I wasn't supposed to during a mission. I just wanted to try to get in the car accidentally. And that caused me to have to reset the mission, which was pretty straightforward. It was a checkpoint right where I was, anyways. Those are the two biggest issues. Other than that, there was probably two or three times that the frame rates dropped a bit. And then that's the majority of the issues that I had. Visual bugs was like reloading once or twice where the gun just kind of was flimsy. I don't know what was going on. But this sequence right here is what I want to tell you. All of the way the car physics are going and moving, it is so spectacular. I felt like I was in a action movie. These are not scripted, by the way. This is depending on how I move, depending on how I push and control the enemies. I played this three times, okay? And every time it looked visually amazing. The enemies would bump into cars on purpose to try to make me crash and to try to distract me, as you can see. And the cars will swerve as they get hit or to avoid damage. And it really was a dynamic experience that made it very special. And there's things like this in this game that probably nobody in a review will tell you or show you and say, wow, wait a minute, this game has some special elements and some special things to it. And I would rate it even higher at an 8.5 if it didn't have certain things that I'll talk about later, because sequences like this that I thought were some of the best I've ever played in any video game. Just this sequence here and some of the other chases like this where I've really felt like a very fun dynamic experience with the chasing scene. And it might not seem like much, maybe you think it's scripted, but a lot of these sequences were pretty much extremely dynamic and I love that. And when I replayed it, I realized, wow, like he's causing the havoc on purpose, trying to disturb me, but I can also avoid it and cause my own havoc to disturb him as well. So it was a fun time. I just wanted to point that out. And to speak about that, the game does probably one of the best jobs in the industry at giving you variety. Okay. So I'm sitting here doing this chase. Next thing you know, I got a mini game. Next thing you know, I'm at a shootout. Next thing you know, I got to escort somebody. Next thing you know, I'm trying to escape using a torrent on a jeep. There's just a lot of different elements, not just the same thing over and over and over and over, that it gets repetitive and you're like, okay, well, maybe the story's good, but that wasn't good. This game doesn't do that. And that's where it's a compliment to the game as far as gameplay goes. And it has a lot of variety over and over. I'm flying a drone. I'm using a drone to attack enemies. I'm using a drone to, you know, unlock some things or protect something. And, just a bunch of different things. Flying a helicopter, all types of stuff. It was really very special in that regard. Now, I am one of those guys who prefers a little bit of everything, but I also want a game to be perfect. And not perfect, apologies. What I mean by perfect is I want a game to be polished as much as possible. And what I can say, one of the things that is extremely polished is the cutscenes, storyline, cinematic aspects, the music. All of it was the best you can get, like some of the best in the industry right now that released recently. And it was such a good flowing experience that I have to compliment it. And again, I would score this even higher because of those things. I would put it even higher. Now I'm going to take a pause from that and talk about the gunplay. And this is where the game kind of hurts itself. The enemies don't throw grenades, right? And they're pretty weak. I put the game on the hardest difficulty, and I basically couldn't shoot someone in the chest and they'll die. And look at this lady right here. This was a hilarious random act where she came out and wiped people out. This is kind of like Texas in America, where people all have guns and they'll protect their land. And I thought that was hilarious. But the enemies, they're pretty much weak. I can use a pistol and one shot them, even with chest shots for the most part. So the balancing needed to change. Now, I do not like spongy games. So if I put it on hard, I don't need to shoot an enemy in the head 50 times. But I want some extra difficulty. Later on, some of the enemies had helmets, and I would have to shoot them dead in the head, break their helmet off, and then kill them, which I was totally fine with that as a feature. But it wasn't all the time. And even some of those guys with helmets, I actually took out easily with headshots, even though they had helmets on. So it was kind of a weird sequence where I wasn't very happy with that as much. And yeah, those are the kind of things that deterred me from some of the gameplay and elements like that that are important in my opinion and necessary. And so that was one of the things. And then on top of it, there's zero stealth. There is a stealth mission, but it's against robots and you're basically just avoiding them. And it didn't feel like they had noise detection because I was kind of just creeping and running past them a little bit and things like that. And they weren't very alert. And I felt like if this game had stealth mechanics, it can add a variety of gameplay. The character can't do takedowns or melee at all. And that was outrageous as well. Something that I think they should implement. And I know it's not that easy to implement after a game's already released, but I do believe that that would add value to the experience, and then maybe redo a mission on stealth or just do some takedowns when I get behind some people. And so those are the kind of things that I was looking forward to, hoping for as well. But I can say, the variety of guns felt good, but the enemies, again, like I said, they were, even on hard, easy to shoot in the chest once with a pistol and kill them half the time. You did feel the vest a little bit, and then for tougher enemies like robots, you did have to pull out some real weaponry, which was nice. But the enemies weren't something dramatic where I felt extreme danger about. And for example, right here, this is me kind of ramming through an area, a dude with a torrent, and I just ripped through him and didn't worry. And this is the type of thing where like I don't even have to shoot heavily. I can just pop off 1 or 2 bullets, take down almost everybody. And that's okay if it's a headshot. But if it isn't a headshot, I feel like they should add extra protection to the bodies and make you shoot 4 or 5 bullets, especially if it's with a pistol. Unless you're using a sniper, which is totally fine as well. And so this is the kind of thing where it's not as dynamic, and the enemy types, they're varied, but they don't have anything that's makes them a little bit more elite. For example, let's say if it's a tougher enemy, later in the game, making them more aggressive or making them have element damage on their weapons or having them throw extra things at you. Most of the time they're using the similar armor, a little vest, and all you got to do is shoot for the upper chest or head, and you'll take them out in 1 or 2 shots. And this isn't something that I think the game should be doing and allowing. Now, the robots did have a little more tankiness depending on which one you were fighting, and that was cool, giving you some variety and things like that. Now, I do have a video doing some ideas and breakdowns. I'm not going to get into it. This is more trying to telling you the goods and the bads. And so that was kind of some breakdowns, and you can see right there that little pop-up, nothing major, but these are the type of things that could happen. And for me, the story was so good. The presentation of the story was good. The way that they made it so that you're playing a mini game and you're doing a puzzle and you're doing, a variety of different things in the game was some of the best, in my opinion. In a lot of games would make you do these things, but it wouldn't really correlate with the story. It wouldn't be impactful. It wouldn't be interesting. It just be there for you to experience if you wanted to. But in this game, they put you on a flow of consistent story and driving you forward. And that to me was well done, and it's masterful, to be honest. I give it an 8.5. I give it a 10 for cinematics, music, story driven aspects. Very cool setup. It's nothing revolutionary, but it was amazingly done. And then again, the gameplay, like I said, would be the only flaw when it comes to not feeling too challenged at all most of the time. I had my fun with it, switching weapons, kind of practicing headshots, and being a little strategic and things like that. But in the end of the day, it wasn't as dynamic as I would want it to be for a game like this, where it's an action thriller. And so I have some ideas about that, but we'll talk more about it. But those are kind of some of the things that I hope gets implemented and gets worked on. But if I was to try to tell somebody what would they, if you want to play this game, do you think it's worth it? I personally think if you do want a third-person action adventure, story-driven game and a good experience, you can get this game. It's not going to be revolutionary. It's not changing the genre. It's not doing anything outrageous. It's pretty straightforward with the gunplay, straightforward with the enemy's behavior, but the cinematic story and all that is compelling, and you can have a really good time with it overall. On top of that, you can do the very cool play, which is the ability to just jump into extra content that is not the actual story or anything like that. It is just extra features that will allow you to enjoy. And I want to kind of talk about that very quickly and go through some footage of me. These are all footage from my live stream, so the quality might not be the best. All you have to do is hit pause on the game while you're playing the story, go into play, and in here they have all the content from the developers. It's basically DLC that they made, and they remixed and changed and add their own little stories as well, and characters that we might know and things like that. So for example, I'm in here with this cowboy mission, and this is not story related, by the way, but he has to go take some people out, and that's just me fooling around, practicing my donuts in this game. The driving feels really good in this game. Don't sleep on it. And so there's plenty of variety. I have to protect this truck and work with it while they try to take it out, and all this fun stuff is happening in this extra game mode, extra mission, extra content. And the developers are going to continuously drop this kind of content over and over for everybody to enjoy and be a part of. And what's amazing is as you play the story, all the missions that you saw me do, I can pause it and go right into this thing, which is called the builder. The builder is insane. And so let's just say I go into this specific area. I'm going to fast forward my video. I'm in the desert, right? And I just wanted to do something here, add some enemies at a base that I just plugged in from the game. I could even just use the environment that already exists. Now, in this demonstration, I was showcasing a brand new environment, and I wanted to kind of show the community how the builder works. I started putting in vehicles, enemies, all types of different things. I put a spawn point right there where you're watching, and I said, let me go and bring my player over there and then just test this out very quickly. All I had to do was hit play while I was building, and it would pop me right in. On the top right, you could see I'll hit play, and then in there, I'm already in there, and everything I put is in there as well. And then of course the enemies were there, but I didn't think this through because I just threw so many enemies out there, and it got a little hectic. And I was playing on keyboard and mouse, and I'm not a keyboard and mouse player. But the point is, showcasing this game mode, this extra feature where you can make situations with the game's already built world, or this extra just make your own level design, which was very cool. And so I went in here, started shooting enemies and testing it out and changing it up and practicing a little bit on keyboard and mouse because I don't play on it much. And I was a little scared, I ain't gonna lie. That's why you see me hiding in here. There's too many of the enemies all over the place. But I really love this, and I'm gonna be making some game modes, some story modes and different things using this feature. And this is another part of why, if you really want to make some stuff, you can, or you can play other people's stuff as well, and the new DLC stuff that the game will offer overall. So there's a lot of that type of content for you to try out for yourself in this game. And that's kind of why, for me, all of that stuff together, knowing that you're going to get consistent DLCs from the developers and the community is going to make new modes, and I've already played everywhere, which lets you make modes, and I've seen a lot of content that they made on there. I expect this to be a game that I always come back to personally for those reasons, and I did enjoy the story. And again, I gave it a 7.5 because there are some performance issues on different platforms, and some of the gameplay stuff that I pointed out had some flaws. But overall, it's a really fun game, and this is me early on trying to learn how to do donuts and how to spin so that when I do drive, I'll be top tier. But yeah, that is my personal review / breakdown on my experience. I know a lot of people are going online, and I want to touch on this topic, are going online kind of finding a bug and then just reposting it. It's like the same one person finds a bug and then 1,000 people post it online like if they found it and complain about it. And that's okay. It's a way to get views, but I don't do that stuff. I'm here to talk about what I'm enjoying and how much I could enjoy this. And I have been enjoying this. And I have my Let's Play to prove my fun time that I had with this. I don't think it's a game of the year, given some of the issues with performance. I do think it's a special game. And as time goes, people will love this as it gets improved and enhanced in different ways as well, and more things get added to it. I think it's going to be a spectacular game. So that's my personal take on it. Do with what you will. If you feel like it falls into the type of game you would like to play and experience, feel free, enjoy it. And we're going to get deeper down the rabbit hole because I do have coverage. I have my Let's Play uploaded and posted also. I'm just going to throw it all in one day, one shot, all at the same time. So you can be able to watch that. And then I'll do some breakdowns and details on the builder. We're going to learn how to build together. And we're going to be doing other stuff with this game, playing other people's content and stuff like that. So stick around if you're into it. And also, I always got other content on the channel. But enjoy, leave a like, and I hope to see you on the next one. Y'all take care. Have a blessed day. Stay safe out there. Peace.